Love is love. Love is love. Adios.
Well, hi guys, our name is Sprague and I'm here at the Sinister Paint. Chad is running this place. Is it Kidder or Kidder, how you pronounce it?
Kidder.
Kidder, Chad Kidder. Okay, we're visiting and the awesome studio. It's really light because it's the windows, unlike you having your garage, guys. Garages are pretty dark, and this is another example of, I think, really motivating kind of situation when you have great artwork coming out and you think, well, there's probably a big studio there, you know, with the whole, you know, the painting booth and everything else. No, it's home-based, and that's great because you can do such a cool projects from home.
And it affords me the opportunity to charge less to the customer because I don't have a lot of overhead. I could have a brick and mortar shop, but then I'd have to charge double what I normally charge. And I want to give affordable paint jobs to people. So I've been riding motorcycles for 35 years and I've always wanted custom paint jobs on my bikes, but they're always so expensive. So I offer realistically priced custom paint jobs for motorcycles that makes people's dreams come true.
Speaking of panels, I think this is your most famous one so far.
It's pretty famous. That one has been to SEMA. It's Kenneth from Fisheye Filters had that in his booth in 2019, so that's been to SEMA and back. So, but this is definitely one of my more famous ones. I don't know why. I think it's the colors.
Colors,
maybe?
detail. Yeah, it's really kind of.
Yeah, it just starts with the line work. I just drew it with a pencil and used some Cero paper to transfer some of the locations of the eyes and the teeth, and then I just painted the rest freehand. So,
tell us a story about the mask. They're really cool.
That mask right there, a client of mine, and a lot of you people watching this will know him, Gary Shees, commissioned a skate deck from me with a Friday the 13th theme. So, and some of you may remember that skate deck from a couple of years ago, but I painted it for him and delivered it, and he went to the Comic-Con, and it turns out the actor was there, and he had the actor sign the skate deck, and the actor who played Jason in the very first Friday the 13th movie liked the artwork so much that he got my address from Gary, and 2 weeks later, out of the blue, he sent me that. It's all signed by the actor who played Jason in the original Friday the 13th, and so that's one of my prized possessions, so that's pretty nice.
And again, there's a noise behind the door because it's a home-based, kindergarten-style studio. So we have a nice studio with all the big windows here where all the art happens, and the kids playing behind the door. How many you have?
I have 3 kids left at home, but I have a total of 5 daughters.
Okay, 5 daughters.
Yep. It's God's way of punishing me for how I treated girls in high school, I think.
Yeah, well, you're doing good with airbrushing. So you started as a therapy, as I understand. You were a veteran from Army.
Yes, it was recommended by my VA therapist that I do some type of arts and crafts because they found that it helped mediate PTSD symptoms. And I didn't want to do their little pre-built kits they had, which was wood burning and stuff like that. And I was an award-winning published artist in high school back in the 80s. And my wife asked me, is there anything I ever wanted to try in the art world that I never got to try? And I said, an airbrush. And that week we went and picked up my first airbrush, which was a Badger Patriot. And the rest is history. Here I am. And I've had no formal schooling. I just watched videos. I kept practicing. I would practice every day. I would spend at least 2 hours every day practicing daggers, dagger strokes, dots, lines, shading. Every day, even now I do it. Once a week I'll take 30 minutes and practice all those just to keep my finger numb.
And there's no real job anymore, right? It's
nope.
all full-time.
I do this full-time for a living now.
So yeah, cool. And you're getting to technology. I see you get a plotter now, finally. Huh?
Yep, this is all new. This the Huion canvas drawing tablet hooked to the laptop, hooked to the plotter. It's all new. I got it like 3 weeks ago, and I've never had any of that before. That's my first computer. So everything that I've done previous to 3 weeks ago has all been hand drawn and designed out of my head. So this has made things a lot easier, especially people who want logos and words and names and stuff like that.
Saves time,
So
and nothing wrong with
absolutely.
stenciling a little bit here
What
and
would
there.
normally take me 3-4 hours is 10 minutes. And the plotter cuts it out and we're good to go. The customer got a hold of me for this fairing and he wanted to keep it patriotic, and his idea was to do a full eagle right here with the wings spread, and then that was it. And I'm like, well, okay, I can do that and that won't look bad. Non-symmetrical is not always bad. I said, but I have a better idea. I said, why don't we do a major piece here? We'll still do the eagle, but I'll just do a head. And then I'll do, on each side, I'll do a graphic to make it look like the flag is underneath the paint job and the paint job is ripping and you can see the flag. So that'll be on both sides to make it symmetrical, but unsymmetrical at the same time, because the rip design will be different. So each side will be different, but with the same design. And he was all for that. And so that's what I'm doing. I don't know.
You just got I see the last gun rack yesterday.
Yeah, I just got this in the mail yesterday. This
So
thing
initial impressions.
my initial impression is it's awesome. It cradles the guns really well, and it even accommodates my trigger happy grips that I like. And this swings, so when I'm standing here where I do all my paneling and as much of the artwork as I can, this can swing out here to give me free access to whatever airbrush I happen to have loaded at the time. All these have paint in them right now. It's all made out of solid aluminum and stainless steel. So it's really, I mean, it's the last gun rack. I can't imagine this ever breaking.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Yeah.
And we just picked those up, so available at spraygunner.com.
Oh yeah, I put Spray Gunner in the post about it.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
you guys better hurry up and put them on your site because people are going to be wanting them now.
Speaking of airbrushes, I see you have some of the G-side trios there.
Yep,
How
I
do
got a
those treat you?
771, I've got a PS270, I got the PS290 up here. They're amazing. I couldn't recommend them more. And normally I don't, when I first try something new, I don't recommend them right away. I like to put them through the ringer before I recommend them. Realistically, I reach for my Krios airbrushes before I reach for my Iwatas. You know, like this right here, the PS270. It's got a 0.2 millimeter needle nozzle setup, and it sprays white even better than the Micron. So it's loaded with white right now. You can see on the lid. I will only spray white through this airbrush. It sprays better than my Micron, and I've got the latest Micron on the market. They're amazing airbrushes. I can't recommend them any more than I do. The PS290, which has the fan cap, which I use for, you know, basing out, lays it down smooth. It's got an even, about a 3-inch fan. It's a beautiful brush. Use them constantly. When I load my airbrushes with paints that I'm going to use, the airbrush paint stays in there until I'm done with the project. This has had white in it for 3 days, and it sprays perfect. If I plug it in right now, turn on my compressor, it'll spray perfect. No damage at all to the airbrush, and it's solvent paint. Worst case scenario, I have to put a couple drops of reducer in there, shake it up, and get it spraying. So I don't like to waste paint, so I'm not gonna dump it out and then make a new batch the next day. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing that with waterborne paints too much, but with solid-based paints, you know, if they're gonna be in there for longer than a couple of days, I will tape up the vent holes just so it doesn't evaporate too much, but I've never had any of my airbrushes or the Krios ever clog up or cause any damage. They're high quality airbrushes. Really, don't let the price fool you. Which in my class, we will be using waterborne paints. So that's great that it's also responsive. And a 0.3 is the perfect beginner airbrush. Just like most people think the Eclipse are, and that's because it's a 0.35. So it's very forgiving. You know, it doesn't clog as easy. You know, you don't have to, you can run a little bit thicker paints through it. It's better for students to learn on, for sure.
And where's the class going to be? Is it?
My classes are going to be in Zealand. It's an airbrush clinic. I haven't got the dates yet, but the company that's sponsoring the clinic, they've done clinics with Craig Frazier, Mickey Harris. So I was honored to be asked to be an instructor there for real. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes, and that's your normal process. You have like the stenciling and the masking area there, and then you move to painting here.
This is my paint mixing area, and then I keep all my stencils in here. You know, I'm a big fan of course, I use this thing all the time, Scott McKay's Pocket Graphics, but I've got a bunch of different Gerald Mendez stencils in here, a whole lot of Tommy Ham stencils. Because Tommy Ham stencils, they're really, really good. Of course, you can't go without Mike LaValle's True Fire stencils. I've got the small, which fit in here, by the way, which is perfect. And of course, all my Tommy Ham stencils and all this stuff like this. I love texture. So most of my stencils are just texture stencils. I do have curved stencils and stuff like that, but like this eagle right here, I still do things old school. So here's my stencil for that, just a piece of paper.
You've been doing this for a while.
Yep.
I know exactly how it is.
That's how I created the eagle. But yeah, so I use a lot of these, and then I use unconventional things. Like these are dryer sheets. I use dryer sheet, makes a great leather texture. If you're doing like a leather jacket or anything leather, these work great. And this is just filled with all kinds of things that I find.
I'm pretty sure this is less than $20 a piece.
Oh, wait a minute. They're free. My wife pays for them. I just grab them. This is a piece of filter from a heater. So I just, whatever, if I see something, I'm like, hey, that's kind of interesting. I'll just grab it up
texture,
and Other than that, all of my work is generally 90 to 95% freehand. There's nothing wrong with stencils as long as you use them correctly. They're more of a map than the artwork themselves. So too many people use them as the art. So they'll use a skull stencil, spray the eyes and nose, the teeth really black, and then pull it off and call it done. It's unfortunate that they do that and they actually sell it to people, but it's incomplete. That's just a map. That's the beginning stage. And I'm a big fan of the technique of push-pull. So that's one of my favorite techniques, where you push an image back with darks, pull it forward with lights, and then push back with darks. And each pass you get a little bit more detailed, a little bit detailed, a little detailed.
Creates kind of the wall,
yes, gives you that depth. Mike LaValle was huge on that. So I picked that up from him. So I've learned little pieces of things from Mike LaValle, Ed Hubbs, because I've never had any formal schooling, so I've had to, watch Facebook videos or not Facebook videos, but YouTube videos and stuff like that. And these are the people that, I idolize, like Steve Gibson. I would love to take his class because he paints just like me, just freehands. So he's like, kind of like my idol. So.
Okay, and the clear coat is well done by you here, right?
Yes. On the other side of that wall, I have a fully functional spray booth. It's got an evac system. All my big guns, I've got all DeVilibus guns, primer guns, clear coat guns, base coat guns, pearl guns, and I do all that work myself. When I do a motorcycle, it's all done solely by me. I take it all the way down to metal. I've got sandblasting cabinets out there. I take it all the way down to metal. If it needs body work, I have a body guy that I hand it off to, and he does body work. And then I do all the work. Primer, base, artwork, clear, all me. So I'm a one-man show. And people keep telling me I need to hire somebody to help me, but the problem is when you have somebody working for you to help you, they're supposed to do that so you can go do something else. But I would just be standing over them, making sure they were doing it correctly the whole time. So I would never get anything else done. So I might as well do it myself.
All right, well, I'm gonna try, give you a gun to try. It's the same approach we had with G-Sky Crews, so it's a great quality delivered with the half the price pretty much approach. So we have the Z-Gun on the market now, and it's becomes really...
Oh, the spray gun.
Yeah,
the I would love to try that. Yeah, absolutely.
And advice you would give to somebody new just watching you here on, how you do it from home and thinking of, hey, maybe I can start something similar.
My advice to you is just do it. And don't get frustrated. When you first start, airbrushes are a very temperamental piece of equipment. They're gonna frustrate you, they're gonna spit, they're gonna sputter until you get a handle on it. Trigger control is the biggest thing. Don't throw your airbrush because you're frustrated. I know so many people that have had to buy new airbrushes because they get mad and they throw their airbrush when they smash it on the floor. Don't do that, it's just paint. It's just paint. Whatever happens can either be fixed or painted over. It's just paint. So my advice to you is to take it slow, practice every day, at least an hour every day. Do dagger strokes, dots, lines, do ball shading so you learn to shade on a ball. Always choose a light source. Very, very basic stuff. Until you get a handle on that, don't try to paint anything like this, because you're just going to get so frustrated you're likely to quit. So get a handle on the airbrush first, learn basic trigger control, and then go to the next step. Don't rush it too fast because the airbrush won't let you. Everything in the airbrush world, that panel there, that artwork there, that artwork there, it's all made up of the same basic airbrush strokes. Dagger strokes, dots, lines, and shading. Create that. It's how you apply them and your control over the trigger that allows you to create that. But they're all made from all the same airbrush strokes. So master those airbrush strokes first.
Great advice, I think, and find a spot. And let's put your autograph there. This marker. Really like it. Thank you for watching, you guys.